Hi, welcome back to my life with plants. I'm Newman. A little bit of an update. Got the fan blowing. So we've got the mini blow heater. Just trying to heat it up a little bit before I go. Yep. We're starting to have telltale signs of the transition between summer to winter. Now a lot of the top part of this Vander is losing a lot of leaves, and I notice them a lot. Well, not that one. Used to be the top portion. Could be just a combination of things. Getting cooler, old, really old leaves on the plant, and it just wants to get rid of them. Could be a number of reasons. This Maxillary is starting to get wrinkly bulbs, which it does until it gets some water in there a little bit. This Vander Stylus Loose Neri is always a rather hardy one. And this one is a Vander Falcata cross with Vietnamica. And these lower branches look fine. We've got some newer growth up here. Yes, so I'm being careful with the Nemo polybourbon. Still going around and pulling off little bits that had rotted. Yeah, and this one's still looking good. The Cattleya Lundii, just trying to put out some new growths there. Yes. It's a balancing act in winter, knowing, there's one little thing that you should do, and that's if you have overcast weather and it's pretty cold and there's no sunshine, you gotta get out those grow lights like I have there. But we don't have very many of those days. Very far and few between, luckily, because if I did have overcast winters, I'd have to have grow lights. Otherwise that would make the orchids pretty miserable. Yeah, it's important that during these cooler temperatures, what are we looking at here? It's about 20 degrees in here, 60% Fahrenheit. You gotta be careful that water doesn't stay in between the crown of the plant, which can cause rotting. But if I want to be really mean to the Cattleyas, I can just let them go dry and water them just once a month, and they wouldn't hurt them one bit. I remember letting this one dry out, really letting it dry out till it was wrinkly, and then I would give it a little water. This one's on the mounts I'm not so sure about. Yeah, this brassica has been beaten up one summer, as you know, because of those other bulbs on the other side of the blackened parts on the bottom, and it's not fast enough to push out new growth to replace this older growth. So we'll see what happens with it. Monkey tail cacti, Cleistocactus calademonensis. So one thing that can grow successfully are the dendrobium types. These ones are fine. Cattleyas on the bigger scale are fine with me, and the brassias I don't know much about because I only have one, but these Brassio Cattleya hybrids are fine too. And I've still got my eye on this Phylogeny that's named Pholidota chinensis. Will it do well or not? I don't know, and I'm pretty wary of when I repot it that I'm not going to disturb the root system. But it appears to have the black leaf tips coming in again. Which is annoying. I don't know what that's about. It's got to be something to do with the drop in humidity. It's about 60 at the moment. It'll get down to about 50, 45 or 50. But that's not enough to cause it problems. And I've got my eye on that new growth, so it definitely needs a repot in spring. Alright. I'm still learning about this Tanzanian ground orchid. You see those nice roots coming up from the Cattleya beringiana. And I did call this a Laelia, but it's a cross with Dinard's Blue Heaven. But when I look it up, the flowers on Dinard Blue Heaven look like a Cattleya's flowers, and these look more Laelia-like. So it's some other cross. Now, last year, this Rhyncholaelia Cattleya Young Kong, I let it stay pretty dry. I mean, I would have just water it. If it got a decent water, it was once a month during the winter. And then I remember discarding it. I put it right back at the back of the room. Right over there, because I thought this is just, I'm not going to be able to grow this. And then I had this sheath, kind of like it has now. And then the buds are developing in it and developing, and then I saw them split out the top, and I thought, it is doing well. So I brought it back, and I had let it wrinkle quite a lot in the bulbs. we're talking about just one watering per month, and it can get pretty dry in this room because it's in the winter here. And this one too, this Denard's Blue Heaven Cross thing, let that get pretty wrinkly. So this, and this will be my first winter with Dendrobium chrysitoxum and Thrissiflorum, and if they do really well, and which they should, I'm probably going to move towards these more. And these little miniature orchids, they kind of go up and down, as you know. They can have plenty of water, and then they're happily growing and getting thicker, and then we get the autumn come in, and it can do some damage to them. And yet they can't be on the balcony because that is just far too hot. It'll kill them. You can see through here at the Cattleya color, and that one can dry pretty much out before it gets the next watering. And I am wondering about that we can't see through these bars here. They're kind of in the way, but through there you can see that Vanda, sun-loving Vanda. This one is a little experiment to see if it's going to live or not, survive. Because we know that they don't like to have dry, cold winters. And we're going to see what happens with it, with its culture in this climate. I wonder. Of course, the lye cast. Now that's no problem. You just keep it slightly moist. It doesn't like to dry out. I noticed when it did dry out last winter, it aborted a whole bulb, and it was a new bulb too. It had a new sprout. So noticed it sucked the life out of its newest bulb, and then it went brown and desiccated and took it off. Here's a leaf off the other Vander up here. Alright, I haven't had any flowers on this, and it's a massive thing. It's only going to get bigger. These are just baby bulbs. You can get twice the size of that. But I'm learning about Lelias. Sorry, Lycast. And they take up a lot of room. I mean, look at the size of that leaf. I wish I could keep them in the garden, but I can't. It's too cold for it. Yeah, but if you're in doubt, buy some daylilies. They have similar flowers to orchids. They have similar the foliage is almost like this, and they have big, thick, juicy roots, and they don't mind anything. Terrestrial plant, daylily. It's a lily, just like orchids, and they have an abundance of flowers. You should always have something else besides the orchids to give you some joy in your garden. If they are difficult for you, that is. And try to keep the collection within reasonable, don't have too many of them, and it makes it impossible to look after. But if you do live in a cooler climate, like me during the winter, when you can get right down to frost and freezing outside, your dendrobiums, Chrysotoxum, Thrissophorum, and all of those ones are your best bet, because they don't mind shriveling up over the winter. And of course, if you can just keep these jumbo cattleyas warm and away from cold, that's all you really need, and you can let them shrivel up. Alright, that's all from me. See you next time.